Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Walk us through what that detailed 3-day planning session looks like for a project.
So it's actually not that complicated. It's really through a conversation. We have a conversation to do this. Through a conversation, we agree on the scope. What are we doing here? Are we building a bread box or the 3-bedroom house to go around the bread box, right? Agreeing to that and then make sure it aligns with what our customer wants. Then each of the cross-functional members, which could be your subs, right? Each one says, well, that's the project, and these are the tasks that I'll need to get done to deliver that. Then we identify the tasks. Then we map them out visually. So we would literally put a sheet of paper on the wall with Post-it notes, and each Post-it note would have a task on it. And we'd say, what can happen tomorrow? Okay, we'd lay them out. Now, for each of these tasks, who owns it? And this is important. The person who says, I own it, has to be in the room. Because if you say, well, that's Fred does that. If Fred's not here, then how can I hold Fred accountable? Fred's not here to say it's his or not. So they need to be in the room to say, that's my task. Or in the Zoom room to say, it's my task. I want them to accept ownership of it. Say, yes, I will make sure they get it, that I get it done. Now, it doesn't mean they do the labor themselves. It just means they're the person on our team that's going to wrangle that and make sure it gets done, whether it's doing it themselves or managing a supplier or whatever. They're going to make sure it gets done. And then that person also tells me 2 other things. They tell me what they need to do their work from other people, which we call the predecessors. What are other things you need from other people that I need to tie in? And then how long do you need to get this done right? And so this is an important point.
Go back to the one you just said. You said, is that dependencies essentially?
Dependencies, yes. What do you need from other people? Because you think about it in the construction world, right? I did a project for a renovation of a facility. And it was one of I won't name which one it was, but it was like JLL or CB was the person doing the construction. And then IDEO was the one doing the concept. And it was for a Fortune 500 client here in Atlanta. And so when I went in to do the plan for the client, the integrator, who's doing all the work, said, what are you doing here? I already have a plan. And so I said, okay, that's great. I'm glad you have a plan. So do you have the information you need from the customer identified? And do you have it laid out so that if they're late, it pushes you so you could say, the reason I'm late is because you were late, give me the data? No, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to make sure that if you need customer input, we identify it, tie it into your task so that if they're late and that makes you late, you can push back and say, look, you're the reason. Or hopefully you're proactive and say, if I don't have an answer to this question by Friday, my schedule starts to slip day for day. Every day you're late, we're going to be late. And that forces these conversations to happen. So we wanted to get the dependencies inside not only from your own stuff, but from the things you need from other people as well.
Yeah. Okay. So then what's after the dependencies? Sorry, you had one last thing after that.
So then we ask them, how long does it take to do it right? And that's the question, is to do it right. Because what people often will do is they'll take the shotgun approach of, we got this really aggressive deadline. We got to do everything as fast as possible. Or my least favorite thing is if somebody says, well, how long do I have? That is not the question. The question isn't how long do you have? The question is, how long do you need to do this right? Because most of the activities, you can have that amount of time because they're not going to be critical path items. There are some that would be critical path, and we'll have to look at what can we do differently. Can we do things in parallel? We add a second shift, but the question should never be how long do I have? Because and I know Martin wants to say, let me get this one other story and to tie this together. When you say how long do I have, what you're really doing in my mind is you're back scheduling. And when you back schedule, you start with the deadline and you back your way into the project planning. We've all done it, everybody, right? That's how most of us, most people live. But the problem with that approach is you say, all right, the project has to be delivered by the end of the year. That last task is going to take at least a month. So it's got to start no later than December 1st. The task before that, it's going to take at least 2 weeks. It's got to start no later than 15th November. And you back your way into the plan. Oh, I forgot Christmas and Thanksgiving, right? So that also adds complexity. You back your way into the plan. Well, let's think about this. If you need at least 2 weeks to get something done, how long do you really need, realistically? More than 2 weeks.
More than 2 weeks,
If I need
probably.
at least 2 weeks, that means if everything goes perfectly, it'll take me 2 weeks. Oh, you're building a plan that's only going to work in the scenario where things go perfectly. When was the last project you worked on where things went perfectly?
Yeah.
You woke up because that was a dream. Things don't go perfectly, right? I often joke that the project management is the theory of chaos, because you're trying to bring order from chaos. So the three things for us to tie a bow on it, and then I'll turn it back over to you. The three things we do in the planning session is we have a conversation to agree on the scope. We have a conversation to have the people in the room tell me what the tasks are. We have a conversation to visualize and map out the order in which things have to happen, who does each one, and how long it takes. Then we dump all that in the software, or you could do the math by hand. I'm a math guy, so I love doing it by hand on smaller projects. And we can say, we're going to be late. Here are the tasks making us late, which is called the critical path. And through a conversation, you will compress it back to hit your deadline. That's what happens in that 3 days or 2 days, whatever it's being.
So I want to clarify how to actually how to discover and identify the critical path. Before that, I want to make sure I understand I'm going to call it backward design. I don't know if that's a term that you want to use.
Back scheduling is what I called it, yeah.
Back scheduling, okay. So on back scheduling, I have an idea, I have a calculation of how long everything should take. Maybe not in the perfect world, but no, this is just what it takes, conservatively. And then I work backwards, say, okay, this is the end result. The last task is going to take this long. Okay, we back that up. And then I do that all the way, and then I see what can be parallel and be actually done at the same time, to where it's not taking up so much time widthwise, but we can do things. This person will be working on this person will be working on this person will be working on this, all at the same time. Is that right?
So that's, you changed it a little bit in that you made it better.
Yeah, correct me, please. I don't want to get this wrong.
Back scheduling is not where you tell me the most conservative approach. Back scheduling is typically, I need at least a month. That's going to take at least 2 weeks.
So it is the perfect.
Yes, it's the perfect.
In a perfect world, I need at least this much time. Okay.
And then when you back up, you realize you should have started the project, 3 months ago to hit this deadline. So what we're talking about is forward scheduling, where you plan for what you would actually realistically need.
Okay.
And by doing that, it's probably going to make you extend beyond the deadline that you have. But that's okay, because we'll identify the critical path, which is the path making you late in this case. 90% of the activities can take as long as you need. They won't have to be compressed. But this other 10%, they will have to be compressed the way in which you said. Do some things in parallel, maybe add a second shift. Maybe I've got to go pay for the more expensive agency because they can deliver faster, and it's still going to be worth it to me. So by making these decisions, we'll compress back to hit our deadline. So in both examples, you hit the deadline. One is unrealistic. And in my example, you've realistically hit your deadline with a plan the team believes can actually be done. And you've got it where 90% of the activities can take the amount of time they need.
So I think I'm getting this in theory, but could you give this like an example of how you determine the critical path on a specific project, and what that process looked like?
So that's a good question, because, one of the things we have to talk about in project management is some people will say, the important activities are the critical tasks. No. You must divorce yourself. You can't conflate those two terms. There are going to be activities that are very important to you and to your boss and to whomever, that because they're not because they could be late by a day or 2 or 3, they aren't critical. So what's the reason I bring this up is you're going to show the critical path, and the boss is going to walk in the room and go, that doesn't make any sense. The permit's not on there. The permit is always critical. No. So the permit is important, but it just so happens there are other things that are taking longer than the permit. So the permit, while incredibly important to you, isn't what's driving the end date. It's something different. It's this other sequence of activities that is taking longer. So to find the critical path of a project, what you would do is as I said, you would lay out visually what the tasks are. So let's say task A takes 5 days, followed by task B takes 5 days, followed by task C takes 5 days. That path is 15 days. In parallel with that, you've got a task C that takes 10 days, a task D that takes 10 days. That path takes 20 days. You got a path at 20 and a path at 15. It's the path at 20 that's the longer path. That's the critical path.
Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep on topics that help you grow a construction business that runs without you, so you can have less stress, more time, more money. Now, we've got other videos, other clips, but if you want to check out the full episode for this clip, you can click wherever our editor put it. It might be here, it might be there, it might be over my face. I don't know. But thank you for checking us out. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. So subscribe or check out a full episode wherever you get podcasts.